Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Classical Record Review Masterclass. I've been getting submissions from many of you. Wow. Thank you so much for sending them in. Now, as I said, my intention here is not to be cruel, but also to be honest, brutally so when necessary, as here, sadly. Well, look, the first rule of writing a review is to follow instructions. Now, what were the instructions? I said write a maximum of 3 pithy paragraphs about whatever the topic is. So there you have it, 3 pithy paragraphs. Well, this person wrote 8. So it's already disqualified. I mean, no one's going to read it. No one's going to edit it. No one's going to bother with it. There's no point. If you're not going to follow the instructions, then why are you doing this? I mean, what do you think is the purpose of this exercise? I have to ask that. That's ridiculous. And the work itself that's being reviewed, it's the Dohnányi Cleveland Berlioz Symphonie fantastique. An interesting choice. It really is, because it's not a well-known version of the work. And so it could use some serious listening and analysis and maybe rehabilitation. I mean, who knows? But that's not what we get here either. I mean, we get serious listening, but the criteria I had here were really pretty straightforward. Know the discography, know the work, follow the directions, and know how to write. Well, unfortunately, this particular submission does not pass that test either. I am going to read only the first paragraph. First of all, the way this is structured is all wrong. Totally wrong. It is a sequential discussion of the performance bar by bar, with each paragraph having its own movement, each movement having its own paragraph, pardon me. Let's put it that way. And there is no structure to the review, an independent structure to the review. 3 paragraphs, remember? It's simply a description of the performance on a track-by-track basis, and that you cannot do. You absolutely, I mean, there may be moments when you can for special circumstances, but this is not one of them. This is a performance in a recording that you should be able to summarize in a paragraph with reference to other recordings, none of which are mentioned here, by the way. So let me just read paragraph 1, movement 1, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Zell sound lives! Exclamation point. Well, that's not the point, is it? The soft string sound in the introduction sounds as if they are one. Well, we're already in grammatical trouble here, right? The soft string sound sounds as if they, who's they? I mean, it's a mess. Then we have a colon. It sounds 3-dimensional, comma, with the different string sounds being present, but as a unified sound that wraps around the listener's head. I mean, that's just bad. That's bad in so many different ways. I don't even need to take it apart. Perhaps this person is not a native English speaker. I understand. I really understand. But there has to be basic grammar and syntax, and the words have to make sense. I mean, things that listening around the listeners, wrapping around the listener's head, and discussion of string sonority to that degree. We haven't even gotten into the performance. We're talking about the first couple bars. So, I mean, this review could be endless, right? So there we go. And the crescendo that proceeds it, I guess follows it, has that warm but sharp sound that cuts through the music. What does that mean? To cut through the music? I mean, the words themselves here simply aren't making sense. And it's not a question just of bad writing. It's bad writing coupled with wrong writing. That is, the wrong selection of words to try and describe what the reviewer is actually hearing. I mean, what cuts through the music? We're talking about music. It's not cutting through itself. Do you understand? I mean, an instrument can cut through the texture. That can happen. But that's not what they say here. So next, the relaxing idée fixe melody, idée fixe, pardon me, not the accent, that gradually turns into a violent and vicious one is heard for the first time. We don't need to know that. I mean, we don't need to know that at all. So what? Who cares? It's heard for the first time. Yay! You get a prize. And then we have the tension there created makes the listener be on the edge of our seats. It refreshes the piece we know, dragging the listener into not Berlioz's but Dohnányi's drug trip. I'm stopping. You get the point. This is incoherent, unacceptable writing. It is unacceptable musical description. It's an impossible review, and we haven't even gotten to the exposition. We're in the first movement introduction. So there is more here that is not how to write a review than there is. And what really gets me about this, and I say this to everybody who's participating, you see this? ClassicsToday.com. You have 17,000 examples, free, most of them, of what reviews ought to be, what good style is, what correct style is. Is everything on that website great? No. Did we make mistakes? Sure we did. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's an example. It's an example of how to write a concise, sensible, decent, informative record review. I guarantee it. Or go read Gramophone, or go look at some other review website that has reliable professional people. Where does somebody decide I'm going to write reviews and then come up with something like this, which shows not a shred of awareness of the enormous body of work that's out there to show you how to write a review? So I cite this example, like I said, not to be mean, not to be harsh, but to be honest, and to say, look, if you're serious about doing this, if you want to write a review, go learn how to write reviews before you submit something to me, before you send it to me or any other professional editor, because this is not professional work. It's a joke. And if you want to really be taken seriously, you have to show that you've done your homework, that you understand at least minimally what a review is, and that you know how to write. I mean, which this shows not a shred of knowing how to write either. But the basics, just there it is. I'm sorry. So keep on listening, friends, and please pay attention to the directions. Please do a little homework or research yourself. Take pride in what you're doing. This is a profession. It has standards. It has models. Follow them and learn to express your own personal viewpoint within the constraints of the assignment. Take care.